9 a.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, and in attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. Hearing none, our first item is Advisory Board minutes. And Mark, are you going to lead us in this?
Yes, I will. I'm Mark Veer. I am the new president of the Airport Advisory Board. The meeting that we had went fairly well. We had elections. We just elected a president, not a vice president, because since we're down 2 members waiting for them to be filled, we thought we'd wait until we had a full complement, then we could go from there. So hopefully next month we'll be voting for the vice president. Otherwise, the other item that we had was we had a lot of students from the high school. They came out to visit. I guess the school requires them to go visit X number of government agencies and boards and et cetera to see how government works. It was really good. We had a fine discussion with them. And who knows, we may have gotten a few to get into the aviation career field, especially after they were told what a young pilot might be able to make. They were like, 6 figures already? Yeah. So that went well. And that was pretty much it, other than we did talk a little bit about the minimum standards update that we're going to do. And Stephen, if you want to talk to that.
Yep, I can. For the minimum standards update, really, so we sent out in late October, early November, a status or request for change to all of our tenants. We received none back. So the airport put forward 2 changes, a sublease or subtenant identification, and that was because of actually Go Rentals and Stancraft. We identified an issue there because, and also hangar tenants, for example, Stancraft has long-term hangar tenants that don't really fall under sublessees, but they don't fit well in our definition of our leases and our minimum standards. So we're adding a subtenant classification that basically says that what those type of operations would be. The second item is adding a limited FBO classification, which is basically adding an ability to sell 100 low lead. We've had that request made by Coeur d'Alene Aviation and Maintenance. We've also had that request since it's come forward from another provider in the field that is building a facility in the field already or is planning to. So we might actually have 3 fuel, 100 low lead piston size aircraft fuel providers within the next year or 2. So it'll help hopefully lower the fuel price for our GA pilots on the field. So we do need to make some modifications. After I sent it out, I realized that I did not lower the numbers enough. I thought I had lowered them enough, but then once I read them, I realized I thought I changed something else, but I didn't.
The numbers for the square footage of space needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to redo those and get those back out. This is why this was just a discussion to start with. So that'll be done later. For the staff updates, we mentioned that the airports was going to be hosting that. D North was in closeout with the FAA. Should be done soon. We hope to be done soon. The decoupling is in, not decoupling, the electrical design and project. We just received the beacon, actually. We hope to have that back on to, if it gets warm again, hope to have that project started up here again soon. So we'll have the beacon and all the electrical things moved over. Snow removal is on pause due to winter again as well. Gulfstream Road Extension Project is closeout and acceptance is on today's meeting for the board to accept. And it's nice that that's done finally. SRE, same thing. 624 Rehab is actually going out to bid here shortly. It's actually in your guys' office right now for going out to bid. That is, the FAA is okay with the numbers that we've presented on the cost estimates. We're looking at about a $5 million project right now. So we'll be responsible somewhere between 5 to 7.5%. That sounds like the state's still looking at about a 5% coverage for that, so we'll have about a 5% coverage. So that project is a mill and overlay of 624, new lighting system on 624, which is not replacing cans or anything. It's just replacing the lights and the electrical cables. There's also some of our end lighting systems that we own too. And then also doing what's called the Bravo 4 connection, which is the connector on the east side on the north as well. So it's a fairly large, it's a substantial project. And we're looking at extending the closure by 4 days to do all the work. Because from talking with contractors, with TO, they don't think they can do it within the 10 days that we originally planned. It's just too much work to do in the 10 days. So it looks like 624 may be closed for 14 days. There are some options that we could do. We could require 24-hour working. That just drives up our costs higher. We could require double shifts, but once again, that just drives our costs higher. It's that, where do you find that line of cost versus time? And 14 days seems to be about that line.
So we just need to let people know that if they have a certain type of aircraft that can't land on 220.
Yep.
Okay. And then what time of year?
It really depends on when the FAA issues the grant.
Okay.
This looks like it's going to be what they call a tier 2 discretionary, possibly a tier 1, which means they will issue it sometime in June, possibly July. If it's a tier 2, it may slip another month. The problem is until they issue their grant, we can't start planning it. We don't know a contractor. We don't know who's going to do it. We can't start planning closures. We can't do any of those items until they issue that grant.
Sure. So wouldn't the end of September, beginning of October be the best time to close?
That's the timeline we're looking at.
Okay.
But if the FAA slips on their money far enough, it may end up being in April.
Okay, well, April's still not bad.
No.
But, okay. Just thinking July is just not the best time of year.
And we won't be July because they won't issue the money until July, and it takes us through our processes,
Right.
the FAA's processes, getting the contractor through their mobilization period.
Sure.
It takes about 30 to 60 days just to get that process going.
Once we get the funds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's just a very complicated process. For taxiway Bravo, existing November, we are doing a seal coat next year. That looks like it's going to be about that exact same time frame too. It is one of the more complicated phasing projects just because we're trying to mirror the closures with the 624 closures, so we don't have a very hard airport to maneuver around. But this is basically just to extend that lifespan of that project, that pavement, because we are noticing some issues with that, and we have other problems in the airport that we need pavement rehab sooner. This is on today's agenda as well as an application. And it's using our bill money, the remaining bill money from this year. So it does a 5% match to us as well. And a 5% from the state, which is what they've said they'll match. So it's about $30,000 to us. Miscellaneous ATC planning, I just actually received, while I was on vacation, I received a new version. I have not had a chance to look at it yet. So
And that's the airport control tower.
yes, I have not had a chance to look at it or review it, so I received an update, but I can't even speak to it. I just haven't looked at it.
All right. Questions?
No.
Okay. No. All right. Is that all for the meeting? Okay. So item number 2, discussion regarding open meeting law violation and cure. So you guys met last night?
Yes, we met yesterday morning. History here, Apports and Stancraft
Can you turn your mic on, please?
Sorry about that. Yes, we cured the open meeting potential violation. History is Avports and Stancraft had an open house, and 3 members of the board attended that. And as part of the open house, there was a meeting of about 20 plus people, some being the principals of Avports, as well as 2 commissioners who tag teamed off during that meeting, and a number of other people. And the meeting was a Q&A more event than anything else. What sort of things, and the board members, Aaron, myself, and Joan, were the 3 that were there. We yesterday went over the questions that we presented to the Avports folks and what information we had that we got from the Avports folks. No time during that meeting did either or any of us have any dialogue back and forth together. So that, my understanding is, clears that up. Unfortunately, it wouldn't have been a problem had we not canceled 2 meetings that Avports had set up for us, one for the board and one with you all, the
Yep.
so that is that. Do you have any questions?
Good. Questions? Nope. Okay. Then I guess we're ready for public comment. Okay, hearing none. Anybody online? Okay, great. Well, it's 9:12. Thank you all for coming.